This episode of the Turf District podcast is brought to you by ATB. At ATB, we make banking work for you by offering both expert and practical advice in saving, budgeting, and paying off debt. And though your financial situation and the economy may change over time, you can be confident that your money is safe and secure with ATB. We have a history of doing what's right for our clients, especially when times are tough, because ATB was built to help Albertans. For more information, visit atb.com. That's atb.com. Enjoy the show.
Hey, fellas, we ain't gonna ever back down from nobody. I don't care who it is. This is a brotherhood. And if we stand strong together, we can't be denied. If one of us goes down, we have another, and another, and another that's ready to fight. So let's hit this field and bang them, bang them, bang them. Somebody, light me up.
It's time to huddle up. It's the Turf District podcast. Welcome back to the Turf District, where we huddle up to talk all things Edmonton Elks and the CFL. And we are a proud member of the Alberta Podcast Network, locally grown, community supported, and of course we are also a part of the Canadian Football Podcast Network. I'm Andrew, and I'm glad that you're joining us well, I guess it's this evening while we're recording. You might be listening to this during the day or in the morning or anything. I know Joe listens early. So we're just gathering together tonight to chat some more football. Unfortunately, no super fan this evening, but we do have an amazing guest, and we of course have the regular gang otherwise. Nice. First, joining us from Turf District South. I'm having a hard time with Turf District today for some reason. Turf District South is the one and only Commissioner Kayla. How are you?
Having trouble with life.
You're in trouble. What?
No, you.
Why are you in trouble?
You.
Oh
Please.
yeah. I am having a lot of trouble. That's fair, actually.
This is life.
How are you
This
doing?
is me. I'm just like, yeah, it's all good. Hold it off.
That's wonderful. How's the weekend? How was the rest of the weekend? Because I'm even the Friday, I guess. How was the whole weekend for you?
We can get into it a little bit more, but man alive, I had a blast on Friday. It was a lot of fun. I called my mom
Awesome.
on the way home because it's, I got to keep myself awake somehow. It's quite the drive, quite late at
Yeah,
night.
no kidding.
But yeah, I was going a mile a minute. I'm like, oh my gosh, mom, guess what happened? This is so great. Blah, 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 blah. She's probably like, but yeah, good weekend. Sunday was my regular church and family day, and Saturday I did nothing, and I felt like a blob. So
Oh, well, you know what though? That's sometimes we need blob weekends. I mean, I would kill for a blob weekend, but that's what
it's
happens.
great. Well, I'm single, so I have no obligations. I can blob, blob, blob away.
Is there gin in that cup?
No.
No. That was the appropriate sad face to go along with it. Well done. That's good. Let's bring in our guest this week. Joining us, I believe this is the 5th time on the
Wow.
podcast, 6th, maybe somewhere in there. Yeah.
9, 10, I don't know.
Everybody knows who it is. It's Joe. How are you, Joe?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you for joining us again. I'm sure that you will have lots of fun things to chat about.
No, I made notes.
You made notes?
I made notes. I've never made notes. On all the times I've been on your show, I've never made notes.
Wow. There's a first time for everything. I do appreciate the fact that you messaged me and said, I made notes, and I said, so did I. Weird. Like I don't know how that works, but let's talk about the season a little bit for you, just from your perspective, because how you got to a couple of games, I believe, yes?
I did early on. I went to to the first games, and then after that, I kind of went about your route and decided, you know what, it's probably not worth it having a young kid at home, taking the chances. And even after everything, the team started playing not so well. It was just like, I really didn't have the ambition to go.
Right.
But I mean, I made it out to the tailgate at the Hamilton game.
Oh, nice.
So
Okay. That's awesome.
went and picked up some cupcakes from Janelle and met up with Laura and a few other people at the tailgate. And you weren't there, and Kayla wasn't there, and Mike was sick, so I don't remember you.
Is that because you showed up on Kayla time? Oh. Well, oh, you did well. All right, we're already getting some fantastic comments like Joe ruins notes. That's good.
Joe
I'm excited about that. Uh, well done, Joe. All right. Well, we do have some fun things to talk about before we get into the game and all those types of things. I do want to talk about a new Pay It Forward with Football initiative because this is always very exciting. There are friends, and I just wanted to talk about they're doing a Stuff a Wallet giveaway. And it's specifically for Christmas. You can nominate a family or you can donate. You can donate on their website, just do cash there with payitforwardwithfootball.com. Or you can message them on social to get a chance to give them a gift card. And basically what they're going to do is pack a wallet and then give that to a nominated family. So I think it's a really, really cool Christmas idea. And of course, we want to support our buddies as much as we can. So make sure that you reach out if you can and help with either donations or nominating people, because that's, I think it's just an awesome thing another awesome thing that they're doing. I shouldn't even say it's another awesome thing they're doing.
Amazing.
So, yeah, I know, right? Spread kindness. They just live it every day, and I love it. Yep. It's fantastic. All right, we got a game that we need to talk about. We need to dive into the game a little bit. Elks played on Friday night. They did lose, but it's a lot closer. 19-17. I mean, they did make history by going winless at home.
Something.
Yay.
Something.
But the good thing though is that there is more positive to talk about in this game, I think, than we have had in a long time. So let's start there. Let's start with some of the good that was in this game. So Joe, what did you in your notes? What do you have in your notes for good stuff? Yeah.
I actually said that it was their best game, other than the wins, of course. They looked more competitive, and they've, in my opinion, have actually looked more competitive since the Winnipeg game. Right. Even though that one got out of hand early, they didn't really give up. Mm-hmm. And the games since that, that game haven't really been that bad, I guess you could say. That you can see there was progress in the team developing and gelling, but obviously when you're playing Hamilton, Winnipeg, those higher caliber teams, it's not really going to come out for the best. But yeah, no, it was definitely their best game since, I guess that would have been week? Well, since Labor Day,
yeah,
I think,
absolutely.
Right?
Yeah, I would say since Labor Day. Yeah.
So it's definitely.
You think they played better this game than when they played Winnipeg this last time?
Oh, really? For sure. Yeah, absolutely.
I would agree. I would agree. I thought it was much better overall.
The defense especially looked really, really good. Like they were getting to Fajardo, and it just looked, they were, the best. They were the better team in my opinion. Obviously, well, I'd say for maybe obviously the fourth quarter, but but they had their sparks, like that first interception by, what was his name? Leon Nafis is his first name.
Nafis Lyon. Yes.
Yeah. It, like, right from that get-go, you knew it was going to be a close game. Saskatchewan just didn't look like themselves, really. So, but that's, going to probably piss off my Rider friends, but That's my job, right?
So you're living up to your name. That's good.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly. Right?
no,
So,
you know what though? I would agree on both points with you. I think, although I think the Riders have been kind of an up and down team this year. It's like there's moments where they just look like they're world beaters, and there's other times where they just kind of look discombobulated. And look at that big word out of nowhere. I don't know where that came from, but it looks like they just there were points in this game where you thought, okay, here they go, they're going to take it over, and then there were other points where it was okay. Well, I guess we're gonna well, and our team was playing better. I guess I shouldn't just totally lie it on the Riders and the way they were playing, but we definitely had a better game overall. So, Kamish, what do you think positive wise?
Well, they came out strong. I mean, I wasn't there.
Mm-hmm.
Whole story. I was there, but not there yet. But I was listening to our boys, Morley and Dave, and I mean, they came out strong, but again, they just kind of like stuttered and sputtered their way through kind of the second and the third quarters, it felt like, and they started kicking up in high gear. So they started strong and ended strong, but their consistency is what's driving me nuts. Is it just, well, among a plethora of other things, but I mean, I didn't watch half the game. Oops. But
Oops.
for me, the reason why I asked Joe if he thought they looked better this game rather than against the Bombers is for me keeping the Bombers on their toes, the best team in the CFL, practically undefeated, one loss, versus a Riders inconsistent team as well that didn't really do that good and we still lost. For me personally, I would take that Winnipeg game over the Saskatchewan game just for the mere fact that, I mean, mind you, Mortada missed how many field goals, so maybe if he actually
Right.
got some, but they did keep Kolaris like on his toes. Couldn't really, I mean, 26 points, and they get a score in the fourth quarter? I can't remember. Winnipeg,
Not no
Winnipeg.
no not against Winnipeg. Nobody scores in the fourth quarter against
No,
Winnipeg.
no, did
Yeah.
Winnipeg score in the fourth quarter?
Oh yeah.
Did they? Okay,
Yes.
okay. A field goal?
Yeah.
No, just kidding.
No, that was, remember we were in the fourth quarter and it was tied. It
Right,
was
right,
like
right.
16-16, and then Winnipeg won
Yeah,
26-16 or whatever. That was the home game anyway,
yeah.
right?
So just for me personally, I like when you go up against the best and you can still kind of make that match versus a team that's kind of a little bit inconsistent, didn't really look that good, but you still lose even after, you've come back. And personally, for me, I just felt like the defense, especially in the backfield, they looked a little like they couldn't just keep up or they couldn't make their runs. I'm not a professional, but it again looked more zone coverage than man to man. And when they were matched, they were unmatched. That's just what I took away from it. But
Okay, that's fair. The only one that the only one that I might challenge you on at all was that I thought Lyon had an enormous game, especially covering Shaq Evans.
yes, yeah.
He was step for step with him, and to the point where he was frustrating Shaq Evans. And you don't see that very often. And I thought for a guy who's a rookie who just like we didn't even know what his first name was. Even this evening when we started, we could barely say his name. But I thought he just had a monster
Well,
game.
that's
I
totally
thought he
fair.
really shut down that corner, and he was in a lot of man to man. But see, if I was going to complain about the defense, I know Joe, you said they were getting after Fajardo, but I think they were in the like you said, Kayla, the first and the fourth, but the second and the third, there was nothing.
Like
There
all the
was
gas
no.
was gone or something. Like it just felt
Yeah,
very. And
I
I don't
agree.
want to pick on anybody, but I feel like Jonathan Rose was having a really tough night.
I think he did have a
Yeah,
tough night, and when Shaq Evans got that catch that they needed near the end of the game, they had switched him over to be on Rose, and he got the catch. But when he was with Lyon, he was not getting
yeah,
anywhere. So,
yeah.
um, so I thought Lyon had a great night. I thought Fletcher had an amazing night for a guy just coming in. I love how fast he hits the line, and he's also one of those guys just puts his head down and
Goes.
oh, if you're either going to stop me or I'm going to go through you. And I really liked his game, and even Nielsen, who started at right tackle. So first starting global offensive lineman, I believe, for definitely for us, and started out really rough, but as the game went on, I thought he really ended up having a good game. So, any other guys that I missed on your notes, Joe?
Well, I thought this was Cornelius's best game so far this season. He was quite consistent, I would think. I mean, he struggled in the middle, like Kayla said, in the middle of the game, but in the first quarter and especially in the fourth quarter, obviously he played very well. Vandervoot, the kid had
Yep.
two touchdowns, right? So I mean, his first two of his career, I believe. So that's kind of a big deal to do as well. So although I can't, one of my negatives of the thing, I don't know if I would say his touchdown celebration is positive.
Whatever.
No, that falls
was
under the
amazing.
WTF.
But it was definitely, I don't know. I think it's a little more risque than Kweku's hula hoop. So
Hula hoop.
yes, hula hoop.
Yes, correct.
So yeah, so it's that's really all I got. I mean, the defense, they, as we've discussed, they did that whole bend don't break, but that's pretty much a Noel Thorpe defense.
Yeah, well, they
So
weren't as aggressive as a usual Northrop
North, but
defense, but they
were
did okay.
holding. They held Saskatchewan to 3 field goals.
Yeah.
In the second half, right? So I mean that's kind of says enough about what. The only problem I have is they spent way too much time on the field as usual, and that's a bit of a problem that's been with the team all year. So I think if that offense get a little more consistent, especially in like this next stretch of games that we have, like we got 3 games in 7 or 8 days. So
7 days. Oh my goodness.
7.
Yeah, we get to set up at 1 game this week, and then next Monday night we get to set up 2 games because we have a Tuesday night and a Saturday. It's gonna be ridiculous. I agree with you. They kept it very close. The Vandervoort, that first touchdown, I mean, he could have, wrote a letter in the back corner before he had all day to be wide open. Riders are like, don't worry about that guy. Touchdown. Yay. So that was exciting. I really liked his second touchdown because that was Cornelius really started to move the pocket better in that fourth quarter. And a lot of times I was actually really impressed with Cornelius coming out, especially to his right. And it was like he would run right along the line of scrimmage, looking downfield for anybody, and then fire it off. And I was really impressed with how he was moving around like that. So, I mean, overall, I got the numbers here. He went 21 for 35 for 322 yards with 2 TDs and no interceptions. So
That's really good stats.
we'll be excited. I mean, we actually had no turnovers in this game, which
is
I think that might be a first this season.
probably
Like that's a big deal. So, against a team that that is fighting for a playoff spot and of course did secure one in the end, but really needed that game. We
we could have played similar for sure.
Kayla, that was a fantastic reaction. Paging Bill Kempthorne for the new GIF of Kayla. That was it's. I just thought overall there was definitely more positives to take away in this game than there was. We didn't have so much of the this is horrible. Now there still was some bad, and you kind of touched on it, Joe. That there was a really weird celebration in the end zone. No, there's see, I thought the defense, they weren't getting a lot of pressure for a good part of the game, but that might be part of the game plan is to back off because it's not like Saskatchewan's going to run the ball. So my fantasy knows that because William Powell got basically no points because it was not, they don't hand the ball off. But that's kind of brutal. But they didn't, and like you said, Kayla, they didn't really kick in till the fourth quarter where they could have done more in there. So any bads that you have there, Joe?
Well, going winless at home for the first time in team history, 72 years or something. That's never good. Taylor Cornelius needs to learn to throw the ball a little lighter. He seems like, and when the guys on TSN are saying it, And like Kayla said, I'm not a professional, but when the guys on TSN that are former professionals are saying it, it's very evident. Like I find that he gets the ball off well and he gets it into play, but sometimes he throws it so hard that the receivers can't catch it
Right.
because it just hits him in the hands so hard, right? So there's a time for that. I get it, but not like 90% of your throws.
That's, that's true. Yeah, that second touchdown to Vandervoort, I was impressed he hung on because that was like a bullet coming at him.
Yeah, and like he's gunning it over the middle, and the guy's like having to like stick his hands up, and it's like burning his hands. And I don't blame the guy for dropping it because it's coming in so hot. But and then my last thing that's the bane of my existence when watching sports is shoulder tackles. I hate shoulder tackles. Like, there's plays every game, but this game in particular, there were like, I counted 3 plays where they could have stopped the guy, but they go for the shoulder tackle.
Right.
And the guy just bounces off of them and runs for another 10, 15 yards, right? So you're a professional. Wrap them up. Like, it's not hard.
Yeah. I always say that to Riley. It's like, don't lean into him. Get your arms around him. And what he was telling me, he's like, yeah, my coaches say, no, don't lean in with a shoulder, and no patty cake. So no, just trying to reach and grab him like this. Yeah. So just get your arms around him and take him down. Yeah. So yeah, I wholeheartedly agree. Kayla,
Yeah,
what do you
that's
have for
actually
this
one of my pet peeves too, is when you don't wrap up a guy and tackle and you try to force a fumble or something. It's like, if you're good enough to do both at the same time, great, but most of the time you're not, so just tackle him, okay? Great, thanks so much. Maybe try go on your way down or something, but that is one of my biggest pet peeves. I mean, we've said it all, like the bads. It's just kind of repetitive stuff at this point. But I think what I'm most frustrated is we have nothing to lose at this point. And I mean we, as in the team, because I have no capacity to actually influence them. But
Fair.
I mean, just toss your playbook and maybe start doing something that's creative, out of the box thinking. Try something new, different, weird. We're gonna lose anyway, so you might as well go out fashion and try something different. Like, I think, why are we stop being so conservative, especially on offense? It's not getting us anywhere. It's not gonna get us anywhere. The Walsh, just do something different. Try it out. Who knows? You might win a game. Doubt it, but at least you try.
I can agree with that. But I don't know if that's in the playbook, so to speak.
Exactly. That's why you toss it.
Elizondo doesn't seem like a guy that he's not a like I don't want to say he's like a Mike O'Shea, because I don't think anybody's a Mike O'Shea.
Right.
But he doesn't seem like the guy that has all these trick plays just in the back pages of his playbook, so to speak. So
Google.
Google.
Watch Remember the Titans.
Nice.
That's where Mike O'Shea gets all his plays, apparently, right?
It must be.
Just Google.
It must be that. I know we talk about being aggressive. It actually leads really well into my WTF for this week. They score the touchdown to get within 4 points, and then they're going for 2. Why? Because if you get 1 and then you get down and get a field goal somehow, you can go into overtime. But if you don't get it, you're 4 points down, and now you need to now they were lucky because there was the penalty call and they got to try again. Although, hey, we're gonna kick. No, you're not allowed. You realize now, I made a mistake and I should have only gone for 1, and now we have to go for 2 again. And luckily they leaned it in and did get it. But if they didn't have the penalty, it would have been, what are you doing? That's and now we're seeing this not only with our team, but other coaches across the league, where there's just this end of game clock management and score management is crazy. And to me, that was my WTF for this game, because I didn't understand it. As soon as they started lining up for two, like, what are you doing? Just take you have Sean White kick 1 point and then yeah.
Third most accurate field goal kicker in the history of the game, and
yeah. And then the TSN guy started talking about it. I'm like, oh no, like what? This is kicking a field goal on first down all over again. Like, what are we doing? Come on.
But like you said, it's not just our team that's been making questionable coaching decisions in the last few weeks. I mean, Toronto's done it 2 weeks in a row, I think. Dinwiddie made some bonehead plays, and it's just like this week he tried to challenge a penalty. Or no, he tried to challenge something that's not even challengeable.
Yes, and then lost his challenge and everything.
And his timeout, because it's just like, what are you doing? So I don't know who it was. It was a former player on Twitter said something to the effect of, it's not, we're seeing bad play because of the off year and all of this, but we're also seeing bad coaching because of the same thing, right?
That's fair.
Because a lot of these coaches haven't had time to actually prepare and do, some of these coaches are on other teams are going in the same situation that the Elks did with having Elizondo come in and not have the coaching staff they wanted.
Right.
So I could see it, but yeah, it's been a very unique year all around in the CFL, I'd have to
say. Unique. That was very politically correct for you.
Well, I'm on a family-friendly podcast.
That's fair. That's fair. I'm gonna fire trucker it out anyway. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Kamish, you got anything you want to add in for this one?
No. I mean, no. The WTF was on me for being late.
Okay.
So.
But wait a second, that's not really far from
No, I have never actually missed a kickoff.
Oh, okay.
Ever.
Okay. All right. Well,
I did.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you made it.
Me too. Me too.
That's why they lost. Because you missed the kickoff.
Dude, they started getting better when I got there. Well, at least
they're like, oh, Kayla's here. We can start playing now. Yeah.
Thanks.
That's right. Nice. All right, let's go through some fan questions on YouTube here. We've got a plethora of things going on. Let's see here. Supermom says hello from Vancouver Island. Hello, Supermom. Tim Capper says, for the first time since 1993, a team has gone undefeated and a team has gone winless at home. Interesting. All in the same weekend. Winnipeg cleans up, and we're unfortunately on the wrong side of that particular excitement. Unknown if first time for two teams in the same division. Oh, that's interesting. I hadn't even thought of that, but that's, thanks to Ken Ledwick says, thanks, Tim. Exactly.
Hey, well, technically, we're not last, though. Technically, we're not last. The Red Caps are still on the bottom.
I don't.
They got more losses than we do.
Oh, because we haven't caught up in. Yeah, we haven't caught up in our losses. I was gonna say right now they have the season series on us, so that's. Brutal. Anyway. Let's see. Cosmic Rhubarb says, ooh, Kayla is looking like a snack tonight. Wow. That's... Wow. Very nice.
You always do.
Okay, and Jacob Sperling said the same thing for me, that I said Elizondo's decision to go for two when we needed one to be down by a field goal. Do you guys think he's that checked out, or was that an honest mistake? I think it's an honest mistake. I think it's, we need to get points to try and get close, but just not kind of realizing, but then we still need another score, and I'd rather. The other theory is that he was playing for the win. In that, True. You go for two, and then if you get the field goal, you win the game.
And I thought that too when I was watching it. But on the other hand, it's a high risk, high reward situation.
Absolutely, right? Absolutely. But does that go with what Kayla was saying and try to,
pull something out of
play to the wall, right?
Yeah, maybe. And that at this point in the season, because they know they're out of the playoffs and they know that people aren't You know, they're like they said on the TSN broadcast as well that players are legitimately now playing just for positions next year,
Yes.
right? So
Yeah, to keep their job. Yeah, exactly.
yeah, or to get a job next season because like you know you got Fletcher that came in to replace Walker and the guy had 140 yards, you know, in
Yeah.
offense. You can't. It's gonna be hard to keep him off the field in the next couple of games, which you know might be beneficial to the team, right?
Absolutely.
So
And who doesn't want to
Absolutely.
upset a playoff position, man? Like if we would have won, that would have been so evil.
Well,
yeah, because really, I mean, you've got Calgary and BC are still fighting for that third spot, right?
yep. Yeah.
And we all know
So
what
Yeah.
Calgary does, so
We'll see what happens this week. Yeah, it should be rather interesting. Um, it's yeah. Well, there's lots that we could delve into on that, I'm sure. Let's see. Ken says the problem with this team is seldom the defense.
true,
Okay.
very
it's true.
Yep, I can do that. Uh, Coach Vic says Joe has rider friends. Interesting.
Joe has
And Joe
friends.
says I have friends. Yeah, exactly. There we go. There we go. Yeah, there we go. Patrick Penguin, our good friend Ed, says if I were a Riders fan, I'd be very concerned. Definitely not peaking. Not peaking, especially when you look at the way Hamilton's playing as of late. I can get that. Tim Capper says discombobulated and plethora used in the same show. Well, that's you come here for the fancy shows.
Brainiac.
It's crazy.
To which I replied almost in the same
Yeah,
sentence.
almost. I know. Ken says the Elks' offense is totally schizophrenic under Cornelius. I would say yes, but I think that any quarterback that's basically new to the league and thrown in the middle of a season, it's going to look that way. I
Absolutely.
other than the one backup that we all know that would come in and actually clean up and take over a team, one number 15 in our past, it doesn't usually happen that well, maybe with Dane Evans last year, he jumped in as a backup and kind of took off with that team, but that's not usually what happens, right? So, um, Connie Feketa says you didn't like the inchworm. I still say it was better than the hula hoop. Okay. Uh, yes.
Yeah, I saw some comments on Twitter that weren't. What's the word I'm looking for? Nice to Mr. Vanderboot.
Okay.
Let him have some fun.
Oh my. All right. Cosmic Rhubarb says, in my opinion, the Elks' injuries helped them. Their replacements seemed to hustle hard. Fletcher, Vandervoort, curious if the injured players' attitudes might have been part of the problem in the previous games.
I mean, when I saw that injury list come out a couple of days before the game, I saw who was on it. I thought something similar to the effect that because people have been saying like something's wrong with Darrell Walker,
Yeah.
and you know the last few games with James Wilder Jr. hasn't been the same that he was early on in the season, and I think some of those guys have maybe given up on the team, so to speak. That's just my hypothesis, but it almost makes sense. Like they probably just said, "Listen, you're going to need us in the next 3 games in 7 days, so I'm just going to sit this one out." Right?
Well, a lot of people had hip injuries all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's because their butt hurt, but
Didn't you already say this
Yeah,
is
it
a
was-
family podcast?
What? What's wrong with
I guess that's not
my
bad.
6-year-old just
Yeah,
what?
that's true. That's very true. Yeah, I think. I mean, it could be that. It could be that they're trying to just rest guys before they have the big stretch of games. I personally thought when I saw that list, I'm like, oh, they're trying some new guys. Let's see what happens, right? And they're probably going to have to flip flop the guys over the next 3 games. So it's see how that turns out. But there might be a couple of guys, like you said. Now James Wilder Jr. could legitimately be hurt with his ankle. Do we see him again, or do they start Fletcher again? He had a great game. he had a monster game. I don't know. It'd be very interesting to see. Coach Vic says the fan appreciation night was a bit off, and kind of seems to be the trend from
What was the
this
appreciation?
particular year. I wish I could tell you.
Like,
Yeah,
did
yeah.
anything happen?
Well, there was cheap food.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Oh, didn't partake,
Yes.
but cool.
Okay. There was that.
Okay.
I mean, but at this point in the season, too, I think they understand that why would they go and do all this extravagant stuff if they know that people aren't
Yeah.
going to turn
Yeah.
out either,
Fair
right?
enough.
Yeah.
But it's maybe they're looking forward to next season, which is ideal. But I mean, this team really needs to figure something out to get fans back into the stands. Because I mean, honestly, like with the exception of like Andrew, myself, that have made the decision to not go just to basically protect our family and our children. But it's like there's people that legitimately just didn't go because they don't like what the team's doing, both on and off the field, right?
Agreed.
So.
Yeah. Yeah, and actually I should throw in a thank you here right now to CBC because they had me on to talk about just that and kind of what should they do and we're seeing less people and how do we get some more people in the stands, and that's what I was saying. I think there is definitely COVID plays a role, but I think there's a lot of people who are like, well, I'm kind of upset with everything that's happening. It's poor play is one thing, but the stuff that's happening on off the field and the constant fact that I'm having to defend a team is not, it gets tiresome, and you don't want to do that anymore, right? So that
and the thing that really bugged me as well is when they announced the vaccination protocol. It's they're like, oh, we're not doing it till October 15th or whatever, and it's like, well, at that point you only got 2 games left,
right.
So it's like at that point, what's the point of doing it? Where other people are like, just do it for the next game,
Right.
Yeah. And you can have exceptions to the rule, but just say like, starting next game, we're going to start checking for vaccine passports and whatever you want to call them. So
yeah, well, we were the last team, weren't we, to put it by 2 minutes? But I think we were the last person.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
so I think there's enough things like that. So that's the thing that's frustrating. Julian Poirier said, if you believe in Cornelius, you have to let him play the playbook he knows. Oh, that's an interesting one. And Derek Mapstone said, fan appreciation night was really off. I didn't feel very appreciated besides the random child throwing a mini football into the stands. So there wasn't a bunch of extras.
Did he at least get a football? Because
I
never get a football, and I sit in lower section.
Yeah,
J.
right. And they weren't really.
I
Well,
never get a ball
now
in my
hang on
direction.
a second though. We talked about this the last game. They haven't been given a lot of opportunities to throw the balls out this year either.
That is
very
true.
That does make a difference.
Should
Section GP says hello. Hello, Section GP. We haven't talked to him in a long time. Coach Vic says, imagine if you had been there the whole game, Kayla.
Sorry.
They would have destroyed, yeah. Oh my, okay. Now H2S Drum Kit says I'll always have to have a mental asterisk on Elks football 2021 with the shortened season and the awful COVID situations with the ball club. Still a horrendous ordeal with our team. Which, I think that is definitely playing a role. But and that is Section GP actually that said that. So. Here we go. Then Coach Vic said, just my opinion, for those of us who were there all year and support the team, they should have gone all out for us. Fan appreciation is for those who are there. And Derek said he did get the football, so that's good. So yeah, I mean, I think that the general feeling is that, we wanted to see a bit more. We wanted to see, appreciate the people who were there.
I won't lie. When I went to that first game, though, the home opener, I was ecstatic, mostly because we haven't been able to watch football in a year and a half.
Agreed.
And it was the whole new team name and everything else, and it was, an exciting time. And I mean, but after that, it was just like that kind of that wind got sucked out of the sails very, very quickly, right? And I think for me personally, it also was more so with what was going on off the field than what was on the field.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you hear all these rumors and speculations, and you're just like, it's hard to get behind that, even with the whole new team name. Like, I was all for. I literally bought a T-shirt and a hat day one when they announced the team name.
Me too. I'm wearing it right
so
now.
I'm not.
Yeah,
exactly. So it's not that I wasn't all about the team name and all that, but it's definitely they got to figure some stuff out in the off season, I think.
Yeah, which would be a lot of looking in mirrors. I hope we shall see.
One hopes.
Sorry, Kamish. That was I knew that might get a little reaction there. All right, well, let's talk about this week's game. Let's set up this week's game. Second half of the doubleheader. Elks travel to the Rectangle to take on the Riders at a 2 o'clock in the afternoon time, which could you imagine if we'd had a 2 o'clock in the afternoon game here where we weren't all freezing and Kayla could have been on time. Would have been amazing.
Hey.
But...
It was actually really warm on Friday, so...
Yeah, I know.
Cool.
It was nice. But I'm glad that they're getting the 2 o'clock game. That's awesome. Now, this game, is it any different from the last game, Joe?
Well, I think the Riders have film on Fletcher now because they went into the game not knowing what the guy brought to the game. So I think they're going to obviously focus on that more. But I think, as I said before, is definitely their best game, the Elks' best game since Labor Day. So I think if they can build on that and keep that momentum, especially that fourth quarter momentum, because they basically, like I said, shut down Saskatchewan in that fourth quarter, and they were pushing to get that touchdown or that last second field goal, I guess, late in the game, except Duke Williams had to get the onside kick, but I mean,
salt wound.
If they could come out with,
here you go. Yeah.
If they could continue that momentum early on, especially, and kind of maybe put some pressure on Saskatchewan, I think it could be a different outcome.
All right, Kayla, what do you think?
That's just exactly it. I mean, you're going into one of the loudest stadiums, and they are rambunctious, and now making the playoffs. I mean, these fans are going to go crazy, and if you can keep them silent and continue on that momentum, but don't stall it out in half of the game, keep it going, be consistent, and, keep the guys on the field who prove that they can actually make plays and want to be there. I mean, there's got to be some reward for your actions on and off the field. And I don't care if you're a veteran or if you're a rookie. If you gain that spot by the way you play, then you earn it, in my opinion. I don't care where you rank at this point. I mean, like you said, guys are probably fighting for their jobs. Well, it's time for the vets to step up and start showing why they were picked and selected in the first place to be a vet on this team. Prove yourself. And just shut up that crowd. Thanks.
I appreciate the thanks and smile at the end of that.
Yeah, shut up, Saskatchewan. Like the entire province. Shut up.
I must say, though, on Friday, it was probably like half and half. So I appreciate it because they actually put more butts in the stands. So you have to give them that. And, I love my Rider friends, but golly, man, not this time.
Yeah.
Not this time.
Well, and the thing is, like, I know at this game, like Janice was there and I was upset that I didn't get a chance to go and to see her. But, we know a lot of amazing Rider fans and so I mean, I want to be happy for them. And at the same time, it's like, the wrong shade of green. Can't have that. Yeah, exactly. But, no, but I am happy for them. But I do hope we find a way to keep them quiet this coming Saturday. Now, keys to the game. Joe, what do you got for keys to the game for the Elks to pull this one off? I know you already said, keep the pressure on and things, but is there players you're going to be looking for to have big games or things like that?
I guess it'll be like, we'll have to see what the rosters look like when they come out to see who's actually playing. Because, I mean, I'd like to see Fletcher keep going. He had a really good game. He actually surprised me. I wasn't expecting much, But when I saw that first, I think it was a first or second run he had that game where he just broke it up the middle for like 20 or 30 yards. Like,
Yes.
I was just like, okay, who is this guy? But so definitely they got to have that run pass balance. But yeah, it's I pretty much said it before. They just got to keep that pressure going and keep that momentum. And I think just kind of freak out Fajardo. He's one of those quarterbacks that he buckles under pressure. He's kind of like Bo Levi Mitchell Jr. or light. You get a little pressure on him, and he just, he starts throwing, and it, passes in the wrong direction, or doesn't get it, to the receiver and things like that. So, yeah, I think we've proven that he gets a little worked up when it doesn't go his way. So if we can get pressure on Cody, I think it'll definitely come out good for the Elks.
All right, fair enough. Kimish, what do you got?
On the field goal post, put a little sign that
Yeah.
says "Aim here, Fajardo," and we're golden.
That's all we need. Yeah.
Um,
Fifth receiver.
I know it's a tall order, and I'm asking a lot, but it'd be great to get good field position from the special teams. Again, I'm asking
What?
too much. I know, but I think that would.
Okay, I asked you for keys of the game, not miracles. I
Well,
just asked you.
if you get good field position, our offense might be able to find the end zone a little bit more often. But I know I said tall order, but
If only Sunderland traded for Devontae Deadman
There.
instead of Nick Arbuckle.
wow,
Then you're
yeah, true.
That's
Maybe
never
not
going
even
to happen.
then some, because we've had a curse since 2014.
No, 15.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got
Taylor
Kevin
Lawrence, yeah.
we actually had
So
some.
I mean, at this point, we just need to find the end zone. We need touchdowns. We just need to outscore them. At this point, that's all it takes. Because I like.
So Kayla's key to the game is
Well,
scoring.
points.
I know, like,
points.
but that's just it. Like we had the formula in this last game. We just could not find that ending touch and continue that momentum throughout the game. And I mean, it's just football 101. I feel like we need to go back to, and apparently that's asking again too much. But man, I'm super positive.
Yeah. I'm gonna bring back something you said at the beginning of the game that I would love to see in this game. Bring out something different. Like, try a flea flicker. Try
onside kick on the opening kickoff.
sure.
Right, why not?
Just why not? Yeah, our special teams are going to let them get back to the 50 anyway. You might as well kick it and just try to catch it there. Like, why make it harder on yourself? Like, I just think that they're you gotta show that you're trying something different. To try it doesn't have to be every play. Like, not every play can be a trick play, but do something that is not like, okay, screen pass or a curl off to the side or whatever. Although I will say that I don't remember who it was exactly, but we did have one pass that was down the middle with the guy in motion. And if we could just see that a little more often, I would be very happy with that.
So lead the receiver.
I know. Don't have him turn around and stop. Like, actually throw it so that he
have him running down the field.
I know. Again, that's also asking a lot.
You guys are like professionals or something. You should be coaches.
Good.
Score more points. Throw people in motion.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll give you a margarita for a reward on the sidelines. Like, how is that not? Yeah.
That's
Come on.
what has to happen.
I think it's going to be interesting, especially for this next game, because I think Arbuckle will probably play.
Possible.
If he doesn't start, I mean, and that might jumpstart the offense too, right? And the thing is that sure, they've seen Arbuckle when he was with Toronto. If I remember correctly, he was the only team that actually beat Winnipeg. Was he the quarterback to Winnipeg? So they have film on him, obviously, but they don't have film on him with this offense.
Right.
So that could be kind of a key to the game too. It depends on who's starting quarterback. So That being said, I think Cornelius has surprised us all. I think when he first came into to replace Harris in that one game, it was like we're like this. What is this? No one knew who he was. But I think now, like it was one of my notes that I think he's actually he's a competent and capable backup for next season.
Right.
Like they're not going to have Arbuckle sitting on the bench making starter salary.
Right.
So, but I feel more confident going into next year if they keep both of them to have somebody to come in should something happen to Arbuckle or if Arbuckle needs a, break, so to speak.
Or have some consistency at some position, right?
Yeah,
right.
absolutely.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Absolutely. Now, we'll go through our pick'ems. Before that, I'll just make sure that there isn't what other keys to the game we might have been said here. Let me just see. Okay, I would. So Ken says I would challenge anyone to name a professional football organization that does not have anyone to answer the phone. That's probably spot on. Yeah. All right. Let's see. Let me just see here. Let's see. Connie said, I was talking with an Elks player who shall remain nameless, and his feeling was that the coaching was lacking. Often guys were making their own adjustments mid-game. He also said the COVID break really affected the team, which is precisely what we've been saying, is that I think that really, I think that caused some issues in the locker room.
Yeah, but because was that right after Labor Day?
It was right before Labor Day, because then they had that break, and then they went into Labor Day, and we all thought, well, there's only going to be some people, and they're going to get creamed, and then they found a way to play that. Yeah.
But I definitely agree. Something about that. I always sense there was a little dissension amongst the ranks, amongst players. You could just watching the game even on TV, you could just feel
right.
It.
Well, if it happens in real life with real people, well, not saying they're not real, but you know what I mean.
Football players are real.
Just when I thought they were all Legos. Oh. Yeah. Okay.
Darn.
Yeah.
It's bound to happen.
The Jetsons.
The Jetsons. I wish they had Jetsons night at the Commonwealth where they'd fly in on the little spaceship. That'd be. Come on. They have the Rosie is around there vacuuming on the sidelines. Like, we'd all love it.
Exactly.
Come on. That brings in the right crowd, doesn't it?
Kayla has no idea what we're talking about.
I just sang the theme song.
Yeah, she did. She does.
Nice. Love the Jetsons, and the movie I watched very many times.
They could have
that's not right.
The Jetsons. They could have the Flintstones night. I'm all over this. Coach Vic says, "How about have an offensive game plan? That would be great." That's a good key to the game. Ed says Kamish is asking too much. Connie says, "Is Terry Williams playing? I saw he had a boot on yesterday." Ooh, that's well. Again. Don't get me wrong. I love Scary Terry. But does it matter who's back there when nobody blocks? Like, there's no system. Our system is catch and fall down. So I don't know that.
You could put us back there and we'd probably have the same results.
I guarantee I would. But I'd be injured after the first play because one guy would hit me and I'd
fine.
be like, okay.
And I would go in and then Mike would go in and then Kayla would go in.
Well, what are we going to do?
And then Kayla would return a touchdown and...
And we'd all be like, that was the key. The key was Kayla. Yeah.
Just have to manipulate them in other ways.
I want Kayla to go in and for her nameplate to say the commish. That'd be amazing. Yeah.
Listen.
Ed says, put Coach Vic on the sidelines. We'll get results. And I can't argue with that at all. And Section GP says line of scrimmage, obvious, but it will be determining come Saturday afternoon. And I cannot agree more. And Connie says, yes, the lack of blocking is definitely an issue. It has been an issue for many years. So, Let's get to our pick'ems. Now, Joe, as the guest, you will get to pick the prop bet for the Elks game, and I will set the line, but I'll let you think about that for a moment while we do our other pick'ems. First game, Hamilton versus Toronto. This is in Toronto. Interesting game as they are kind of coming up both very close to, obviously, Toronto in first with Hamilton right behind them. Who do you got in this game, Joe?
I actually picked the Argos.
Whoa, really?
Yeah, I think they want that home field advantage in the playoffs. I think they want to spoil Hamilton's home field back-to-back games in the playoffs. So yeah, I picked the Argos to win.
All right. Commissioner Kayla?
I think they want it. I don't think they're going to get it. Holy mazzoli, let's go Hamilton.
I knew it was coming. I love that. It's like just lobbing up softballs. Here we go. I agree with you, Commish. I think Hamilton is just... Toronto just seems like they... Well, and again, they did win 2 in a row, but they won 2 in a row like skin of teeth. Like, I don't know. Hamilton's starting to get on a roll, and they're coming off a bye week, so I'm gonna go Hamilton. Oh no, they're not. No, they played BC last week, but they beat them up. So I'll say Hamilton in this game. Calgary versus BC in BC. Now this should be an interesting game. Commissioner, who you got?
I don't have a choice. Commissioner opposite. I'm going with the Lions.
Yeah.
R.I.P. Riley, please stay on your feet. O-line, do something.
Yeah,
That's
yeah. I want to, after the last couple of games, say BC finds a way, but yeah, no, I'm gonna go with Calgary in this one. Joe?
I'm with you. I picked Calgary as well.
All right. Ed just said, "Good God, I'm agreeing with Joe." That's man. So somebody write that on the calendar. That's amazing. Okay, next game, the one right before ours, is the rematch from last week. Winnipeg in Montreal. After Montreal kept it close until that fourth quarter in Winnipeg. I am going to go with Winnipeg once again. I think that they do find a way. That team is right now on a mission to just have that, one loss season. And I know there's that whole, you want to rest players, get ready for playoffs, all those types of things. But man, they're a well-oiled machine, and they want to make sure that, I think they really want to prove that fourth quarter is theirs, and no more people getting points in the fourth. So I'll give this one to Winnipeg. Joe?
I have Winnipeg too. I don't see them losing another game this year.
Okay.
Honestly, I mean, at this point, it's probably just easier if they just give Winnipeg the Grey Cup and just let us all go to Hamilton and have a giant party and just save us all the trouble of going and sitting in minus 30 weather in Hamilton.
Fair enough.
Just saying.
Yeah, could be.
I'm not saying we can't go to Hamilton and have a Grey Cup and have fun.
Any given Sunday, my friend. Any given Sunday. You don't know.
I know.
When it gets into
that
this.
is true.
Yeah.
That's true. They were supposed to win in 2019. Right?
Exactly. Kamish, who you got?
Oh man, my head and my heart are completely on the opposite side. I can't see this happening, but I mean, I always pick the Owls, and I just want, I don't know, a lot of people give Trevor Harris a hard time, and whether it's deserved or not, I really want to see a little redemption for him. And I always cheer for Vernon Adams Jr. and Kari Jones. Like, I just can't help it. I can't help myself. And watching William Stanback is just like a beautiful thing. It's just like a tank in World War II running over their opposition. Like, it's just so bananas to watch. You know who he reminds?
Kayla's analogies are the best part of this podcast.
I know. I've said that for many years.
He reminds me of I'll think of his name. Tennessee Titans.
Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
Derrick Henry, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's just a tank on the field, a man on a mission. Wham bam, thank you, man. There he goes. So Long story short, I'll go with the Owls
Okay.
because why not?
It's good to have the. It's good to shake it up. I like that. Joe, give us a prop bet that we can set a line on for the Elks this week.
Well, this one's going to be an interesting because it's. I'm going to go with Nick Arbuckle completion percentage.
Okay, so you're saying that he's going to start.
Yeah.
And we want to know completion percentage. And I don't know what receivers he's going to have because if he has some of those other ones, we know that the percentage has not been great. Why don't we?
But they might also catch the ball because it's not coming into their hands at 190 miles an hour.
That's a good point. It's a good point. All right. Well, why don't we say Nick Arbuckle? Nick Buckle. That's the other guy. He's the backup. I don't know if you've heard of him yet, but he's
very pirate-esque.
Yeah, exactly.
Nick.
Yeah, Mike said this to me this week too. I should probably just say that he really hopes that Arbuckle stays around for September next year, and that we have a game on National Pirate Day. So all we can do is say Arbuckle like the whole game. That'll be great. Let's go with. I swear this isn't a joke. This is actually what I was thinking, but 69.5%. So, what do you say, Joe? Is he over or under?
I'm going to say over 69.5.
All right. Okay. What did you have in your brain for him? His completion percentage?
Somewhere in that 71, 72. So not overly high over top of the percentage, but I think it's going to be a lot of short dump passes. I mean, especially if they could use Fletcher out in the open. Right?
Fair. Yeah, good idea. Commish?
What was Cornelius's percentage?
Last game was 60%.
60, yeah.
21 for 35, which has been, I think, it was his best completion percentage. Also,
I think so because he's mostly had in that 55 to 57 range. So
yeah. So I mean, the kid's getting better, but I mean,
wow, I'm gonna go under. I don't feel confident enough to actually give our offense the benefit of the doubt of actually going over. No matter who's QB.
All right.
Yeah.
I am going to go with the over, but just because I had 70% in my mind. So that's if he's in, I think that's where he lands, somewhere in that range. All right, that was pretty cool. Now in fantasy football, are you playing fantasy football this year, Joe?
I am. I'm not doing very well though.
No? Okay.
It's just like everybody else, right?
Yeah.
You pick one guy 1 week and he gets 5 points, and then the next week he gets like 38.
Yeah.
So.
Typical. Yeah, exactly. That's like me picking McLeod Bethel Thompson this last week. I'm like, oh, he's going up against Ottawa. It'll be great. Yeah, like
3 interceptions later. Yeah.
4 points. Oh, brutal. Anyway, I did still find a way though to pull out the win against Mike in the CFPN Fantasy Challenge. So that was exciting. So I hang on to my top spot, although I think I'm in second only because the tiebreaker is overall points, and Coop got a few more than me there, of course, from the Canadian Football Countdown podcast. I'm not sure who is playing who this week because I don't have the schedule, but make sure that you're following along on the CF Pod Network, and of course listen to all those amazing shows at cfpodnetwork.ca. Oh, I should probably do this. cfpodnetwork.ca. There we go. Okay, we'll just make sure we get the proper logo in there. So before we go this evening and before we get into where we find everybody, this episode is also brought to you by Park Power, your friendly local utilities provider in Alberta, offering internet, electricity, and natural gas with low rates, awesome service, and profit sharing with local charities. Winter is coming, and energy usage for all Albertans will be increasing, so now is a great time for you to look at your utility bills and ensure you are on the best plan. Albertans have a choice who they pay their utility bills to, and Park Power is happy to provide free, no-obligation comparisons. If you decide to switch providers, it's super super easy, and you can feel good knowing you are supporting a local business and helping to give back to your communities with your utilities bill. Learn more at parkpower.ca. Well, Joe, thank you again for joining us to talk all things Elks. We very much appreciate it. Everyone should know by now, but where do they find you on all of the socials and things so that they can chat with you more?
Well, I'm exclusively on Twitter mostly, like
Okay.
99% of the time. So it's at Balanescu. So if you don't follow me by now, don't bother.
Are you sure it's not
ruined stuff.
Bolensky? Are you sure?
No, I'm pretty sure it's Balanescu.
Okay, I'm just making sure.
I'm just 100% sure. I've only been calling myself that for 43 years.
Okay.
I have Instagram and Facebook and all that crap, but I rarely spend time there. So I'm like
that's
Kayla,
fair.
just the opposite.
Yeah, she's the IG world. Yeah.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. Sure. Where does everybody find you?
Well, secretly, exclusively at what am I
You're
on?
on
Oh my
Twitter?
gosh, on Twitter at DuchessLombardi.com.
DuchessLombardi.com. That's a new one. Even better.
I know. Wow. Is this
I was
good?
gonna-
No.
Are you sure there's no alcohol in there? Oh my goodness.
You can
Oh,
yes,
my.
exclusively. You can find me on
That's-
Twitter at Duchess Lombardi. Don't even try on Instagram. I won't add. I
Okay,
won't go
that's
there
fair.
with you.
I must be special then because I follow
Ooh.
Kayla on Instagram.
But we're actually legit friends. So
What?
I know you.
You all are, hey, everybody in the chat, you heard her. We're legit friends.
You've got a
That's-
friend in me.
That's the title of the podcast. We're legit friends. That's
No lies.
fantastic. Yeah.
She's come around to when I would come on before. She was like,
Yeah.
that's true.
Well, it's not like you're Ryan. She wouldn't have been here then. So it's probably good that.
True. I
That's
just
right.
never shows
That's
up
right.
on.
So we mentioned it before, but make sure that you are following along, Pay It Forward with Football, and of course check out their Stuff a Wallet campaign. You can check it, payitforwardwithfootball.com. And of course, you can donate cash there or get in touch with them for gift cards, and then nominate a family where they can then give them something special for Christmas. And of course, make sure you are following all the great shows on the Alberta Podcast Network, and you can find those at albertapodcastnetwork.com. There you go. Trying to make some fun in there. And of course, join us. You can join us at the Turf District. We're on Twitter. We're on Facebook. We are on Instagram. Join in the huddle. Have a chat with us, especially as we get into the game on Saturday. It'll be very exciting. Joe, I saw you grabbing something. Is there something that we need to know about?
No, I just saw somebody say Lego figures, and I was
Look
going
at
to
that.
point out all
Yeah,
my
it's
Lego in the
lovely
background,
Lego.
but
I love it.
Hi.
that's like that's not even half of my Lego sets.
We need more Legos.
Aw,
We
you're
need-
such a child.
Yeah, do you need more?
Absolutely.
Do you need more
Like
Legos?
the players on the field is what I've been told. Oh, no, they're real players, actually.
They're real.
Yes. That's right. Glad we
They're not Jetson robots.
What? That is ridiculous. I don't know why we're even here. All right.
Life is-
Well, thank you very much, guys. And thank you to everybody on YouTube that joined us for the live show. Make sure that you're sharing and telling all your friends about it. Rate, review, subscribe, all those fun things. We are over 100 on YouTube now, so keep that coming. We really appreciate it. And so for Commissioner Kayla, for Joe, for Superfan Mike, and for me, thanks for joining us. And remember, you can't catch footballs with your face, and we will absolutely talk to you next week.